No gym, no equipment, no commute, just 2 minutes, same time every day. And according to research, this single habit predicts how long you'll live better than some medical tests. We're talking about 30 push-ups a day, and what it does inside your body is far more interesting than most people expect. Here's a number worth sitting with. A large study tracking thousands of men over a decade found that those who could perform 40 or more push-ups had dramatically lower rates of heart attacks and cardiovascular disease in the years that followed, compared to those who could manage fewer than 10. Not a treadmill test, not a blood panel, push-up capacity. It turned out to be one of the most reliable predictors of future heart health in the entire study. That finding points to something important. The push-up isn't just an arm exercise, it's a full-body stress test, a window into the state of your muscles, your cardiovascular system, your metabolism, and your nervous system all at once. In this video, we're going through exactly what happens inside your body when you commit to 30 push-ups every single day. 7 specific changes, from your heart to your brain to your bones, explained in plain language. And at the end, we'll cover how to start this if you can't yet do a single full push-up, because there's a version of this that works for every fitness level. Let's get into it. Change 1. You start building the muscle that keeps you independent. Every time you lower your body toward the floor and push back up, you're loading your chest, shoulders, triceps, and core simultaneously. That mechanical load, that brief stress on the muscle fiber, is the trigger for everything else that follows. Inside the muscle cell, a pathway activates that essentially acts as a master switch for growth and repair. The body responds by laying down new protein, rebuilding those fibers a little stronger and a little more capable than they were before. Do that consistently, day after day, and 2 things happen in parallel. The muscle itself gets stronger, and the nervous system gets better at recruiting it, which is why strength increases noticeably even before visible muscle size changes. Now here's why this matters beyond the gym. From our 30s onward, we all begin losing muscle mass, gradually at first, then faster with each decade. This process, called sarcopenia, is one of the most significant and least discussed contributors to decline in later life. The people who struggle to rise from a chair in their 70s, who fall and don't fully recover, who lose their independence earlier than they should, they are very often the people who let muscle quietly slip away over the years without ever addressing it. 30 push-ups a day is a small but consistent deposit against that decline. You're protecting the physical foundation that keeps you capable, mobile, and living on your own terms decades from now. Change 2. Your heart gets stronger. Even though this isn't cardio, most people assume heart benefits require running, cycling, or something that gets them visibly out of breath for extended periods. Push-ups challenge that assumption directly. When you lower and press through 30 repetitions, the large muscle groups of the upper body, chest, shoulders, arms, core, all demand a rapid surge of blood and oxygen. Your heart responds by beating faster and pumping more forcefully. String those repetitions together and you've given your cardiovascular system a genuine, if brief, workout. Over weeks and months of consistent training, the heart adapts. It becomes more efficient, moving more blood per beat, working less hard at rest. That adaptation is measurable, and it compounds. This is why push-up performance has consistently appeared in research as a meaningful predictor of cardiovascular health, not just fitness. The ability to generate repeated muscular force reflects something real about the underlying state of the heart and circulatory system. Training toward 30 push-ups daily is training the one organ that has to keep beating, without a single rest, for the entirety of your life. Change 3. Your bones. Get the signal to stay dense. This is one of the changes you genuinely cannot feel, but it's happening every single time you do this. Bone isn't the static, inert scaffolding most people picture. It's living tissue, constantly being broken down and rebuilt. And your body decides how much to invest in that rebuilding process based on one thing: the demands you place on it. When muscle pulls against bone, as it does with every push-up, the force sends a direct signal to bone-building cells. It tells them this skeleton is being actively used and needs to stay strong. Remove that signal through prolonged inactivity or sedentary living, and the bone slowly loses density instead. This is the quiet process that eventually leads to osteoporosis, where a stumble that should be nothing instead shatters a hip or wrist. Loaded movement like the push-up is one of the few things that actively counters that process. It tells the bones to hold their ground. Strong bones in later life are often the line between a fall that you brush off and one that permanently changes your life. Change 4. Your blood sugar becomes easier to control. This one goes straight to your metabolism, and it's more powerful than most people realize. Your muscles are the body's largest system for absorbing and burning blood sugar. After a meal, when sugar enters the bloodstream, insulin normally acts as the key that opens the door for sugar to enter muscle cells. But here's what's remarkable. Muscle contraction opens that same door independently of insulin. No key required. Every push-up you perform pulls sugar directly out of your bloodstream through the physical act of muscle working. No hormonal signal needed. The more muscle you have and the more regularly you use it, the more efficiently your entire body manages blood sugar throughout the day. This matters enormously in the long term. Chronically elevated blood sugar and the insulin resistance that often accompanies it quietly damage blood vessels, kidneys, and nerves over years and decades. They're the foundation on which type 2 diabetes develops. 30 push-ups a day won't replace a good diet, but as a daily habit, they move your metabolism in a direction that genuinely protects against one of the most common and life-shortening conditions we face. Change 5. Your posture and core transform without trying. Here's something most people miss about the push-up. Done correctly, body in a straight line from head to heel. It isn't just a chest and arm exercise. It's a moving plank. Every repetition requires your deep core muscles, your glutes, and the long muscles running either side of your spine to switch on and stay activated for the entire movement. Without them engaged, the form breaks down immediately. Train that pattern every day, and those stabilizing muscles grow stronger. Over time, they naturally begin drawing the shoulders back, supporting the lower back, and lifting you out of the rounded, collapsed posture that years of sitting tend to create. This goes well beyond appearance. A strong core protects the lower back from the kind of injury that can take someone out for weeks. It keeps you balanced and steady on your feet as you age. And steadiness, as we've seen throughout this video, is one of the most important factors in staying independent and injury-free in later life. Change 6. Your brain gets a daily dose of its own fertilizer. When a muscle contracts, it releases chemical messengers into the bloodstream. The brain picks up on these signals and responds with some of its own. One of the most significant is BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of it as a growth and maintenance signal for your neurons. It helps brain cells stay healthy, form new connections, and resist the gradual decline that accumulates with age. Even a brief burst of physical effort, like a daily set of push-ups, triggers this response. The long-term implications are well documented. People who maintain regular physical activity throughout their lives have measurably lower rates of cognitive decline, dementia, and depression in later years. The brain responds to exercise in ways that no supplement currently replicates. On a shorter timescale, the effect is immediate. 2 minutes of effort in the morning tends to produce a measurable shift in alertness, mood stability, and stress tolerance for the hours that follow. The cost is 2 minutes. The return lands squarely in the organ you most want to protect as you get older. Change 7. You build the habit that pulls everything else along. This last one is different, because it's not about physiology, it's about identity. The push-up asks for nothing. No gym membership, no equipment, no weather window, no schedule to rearrange. It can be done in a bedroom, a hotel room, or an office floor in under 2 minutes. That simplicity removes almost every excuse that typically derails exercise habits, which means the daily consistency actually becomes achievable, not just in theory, but in real life. And consistency is where all the other changes in this video actually live. None of them come from one intense session. They come from a small repeated stimulus applied day after day until the body has no choice but to adapt. There's also a practical tip worth knowing here. Splitting 30 push-ups into 2 sets of 15, one in the morning, one later in the day, can actually enhance the muscle building signal. Moderate-sized sets activate the growth pathway without creating the level of breakdown that requires days of recovery. A second set later in the day effectively tops that signal up, keeping the building window open longer. But perhaps most importantly, people who successfully build one small daily habit consistently report that it spreads. The push-ups lead to walking more, sleeping better, eating with slightly more care, not through willpower, but because the identity of someone who shows up for themselves every day starts to take hold. The push-up becomes the first thread you pull, and a healthier life slowly follows. I can't do a full push-up yet. Start here. If a full floor push-up isn't where you are right now, that's completely fine. And it's not a barrier to any of the benefits described in this video. The same muscles fire in the same pattern regardless of the variation. What changes is simply how much body weight you're working against. Wall push-ups are the most accessible starting point. Stand facing a wall, place your hands on it at shoulder height, and push yourself away from it. The angle takes most of your body weight out of the equation. Counter or table push-ups lower the angle slightly. Hands on a kitchen counter with the body at roughly 45 degrees. Noticeably harder than the wall, but still very manageable for most beginners. Knee push-ups bring you to the floor with the same upper body pattern, but with knees down instead of toes, removing a significant portion of body weight. Full floor push-ups are the final progression. Hands and toes, body in a rigid line. Start wherever you need to. Progress by gradually lowering the angle as you build strength. Each variation is a genuine push-up, and every single one delivers the cardiovascular, metabolic, and neurological benefits we've covered. There is a starting point here for every age, every fitness level, every body. 30 push-ups a day, no equipment, no gym, roughly 2 minutes, and inside that 2 minutes, muscle being preserved against the decline that age brings, the heart being trained to work more efficiently, bones being told to stay dense, blood sugar being pulled out of circulation, the core being strengthened, the brain being fed, and underneath all of it is something even more important, a daily habit being built, a habit that proves to you in a small but meaningful way that you can show up for yourself consistently, and that confidence has a way of carrying over into every part of your life. The version of you that's strong, sharp, and independent at 75 isn't built through occasional bursts of motivation. It's built through the small actions you repeat every single day, the ones simple enough to stick and powerful enough to create lasting change. So start today, whatever variation you can manage, then come back tomorrow and do it again. That's the plan. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share it with someone who could benefit from it, and subscribe to the channel for more practical health and fitness tips.